It's time to read. Let's get a book. We'll all sit down, turn the pages and look. Hi, Marianne Harmon from Music with Mare, here today to talk to you about music and its relationship to books and reading. When do you start reading to a child? When is a child ready to read? We're going to go through all of that. As many of you know, I love to set books to music. I love taking a story and finding a song to go with it. When we do that, we help the rhythm of the language become easier for the children to get. When do you put a book in a child's hands? As early as you can. When my daughter was little, I used to sit in this very chair and hold her in my lap and sing to her and read to her. One of the first books she was ever given was Pat the Cat. This is a great book because even at 2-3 months old, you can take them through the book, and one of the things is you pat the cat, see? And you take their finger and they can feel the fur, and so they're getting that tactile sensation. And it just goes all the way through to where they can move things, and at the end there's a teddy bear to squish the belly. So Pat the Cat and Pat the Bunny are two books that are for newborn babies. Other books are like cloth books. If you follow on my YouTube page, you see that I have these books up there where I'm singing them for the children to watch. And these books are really fun to use with children because they're made of cloth. They can't get hurt. Even if it hits them like that, they're not going to get hurt. And if they put it in their mouth, that can't hurt either. After those kind of books, we go into books like these board books that are thicker so that the baby can actually turn the pages. And they're big enough for the baby to see all the different pictures. And this book is the Good Night book, which goes through the rituals of the day. So when a child is in that first stage of development, they need to touch things or they put things in their mouth, and that's how they start to understand them. At about between 18 and 24 months, the baby becomes pre-operational, where everything they learn is because a need is getting met. These children need a lot of interaction. They want to know, are you hugging me? Are you feeding me? Will you give me a blanket if I'm cold? That's what it is all about. And another part of it is enriching that little brain so that they can get ready for the next stage of development, which is where they will learn to read. There are actually 3 stages to reading. The first is reading readiness. And this is when they start to recognize, like they might say, they might see this book and know, where's Spot? Because they've seen it so many times. And that means that they're ready to start putting words and symbols with an object. In this type of book, it's a lift the flap book. And so they have to look on the page and then they lift the flap and they find something underneath it. This gets them ready for later on to look more deeply into words and what is really being told so that they can figure out what's going to happen next. So that's another kind of book that we can do with them. In the pre-operational age, you're going to sit with them and sing a lot with the books. And when you're rocking and singing with them, you're internalizing the rhythm that helps them feel and understand the rhythm of language better. At this age, when they're pre-operational, it's also good to use books that are simple. Like this is an ABC's book, and it goes through every single letter of the alphabet and names someone that begins with that letter. Like M is for Manny, and Manny makes music. They all begin with the letter M. When they're pre-operational, they're not quite ready to understand that they're all starting with M and this is a sentence, but you are putting the stuff in place so that when they cross over into concrete, the information is there for them to build upon. So in this, that Mr. Froggy's Friends ABCs, I sing it with them. Like, A is for Adam, Adam ate an apple. B is for Bhavana, Bhavana's blue eyes blink, and we go through the whole alphabet. When we sing it, we're using another part of the brain. Because when you're reading, you're just using the logic. But when you're singing the words, you're also using the emotional, creative part of the brain. And so you have both sides of the brain going, and you will learn it more easily and remember it longer. After reading Readiness is the Emergent Reader. And the Emergent Reader is the one that is going to start remembering that K is for Karma, L is for Lucy. They will start to remember that, and they will be able to read books that have 2 or 3 words on a page. This is not reading. A lot of people think that when a child can pick up Goodnight Moon and they can read the words Goodnight Moon, Goodnight Bear, that they are reading, but actually they are just emergent readers. They're learning to memorize certain words, and they can usually read maybe 2, 3, or 4 word sentences. When they are emergent readers, we like to do books like The Wide-Mouthed Bullfrog, although this is loved by children of all ages because of it being that kind of a book with all the movement. Now, an emergent reader would most likely be able to remember that this says, I'm a wide-mouthed bullfrog. But a reader will be able to read all of these words. Now, how do we know that they are ready to read? When they have crossed over from being a pre-operational reader, they do that when their prefrontal cortex is ready. When they have had an enriching, loving, stable, consistent learning environment for those first 4 to 7 years of life, then their brain is ready to be a concrete learner. And a concrete learner is the one that collects data. This is the child that can tell you all the names of the dinosaurs, and they want to just collect facts because their brain is hungry for it. And that is the concrete learner. Now, what's the difference? Well, in order to be a concrete learner and a reader, you need to be able to cross over the midsection of your body. To read, you start at the top left-hand side of the body, and you go all the way across for a succession of words with your eyes. Then your eyes have to go down and track back so that they can do it again, over and over again. The eyes are the last of the sensory organs to connect to the front of the brain. When we try to teach reading before the eyes have connected to the front of the brain, we can damage the eyes. So we have to be careful and make sure that the child's brain is ready to read. They will let you know when you see that they are skipping. We can do songs about skipping, add music to it, skip, skip, count and skip, start on 1 and count to 3. Or we can skip our alphabets, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and just be skipping. That helps the brain get ready to read. We can do cross-lateral movements like taking our right knee, bringing it up and touching it with our left hand, and vice versa. All those activities get them ready to read. So when you see they're skipping or they can perform those type of activities, they can walk heel to toe, we know that they're ready to read. Being ready to read is something that is related to movement and is not something that we can sit down and teach to a baby. It is hurtful to the baby's brain if you try to teach a baby to read. Remember, it's all about love. When we are teaching our children, It's all about love. We teach them because we love them and because we want them to have successful, happy, full lives. When we take music and we combine it with books and we start from when they are in that sensory motor stage, we can work them through pre-operational into concrete. And they will be successful readers when we combine the music and movement with the activities to get them ready for that. So that when they become a learner that is formal and they are in middle school and high school, they will have all those skills solidly in place. And hopefully, they'll keep books and music a part of their life forever.